Allison here, and if you've been wanting to learn to play guitar, it's much easier than you would think. I started teaching myself a few months ago, and already I've made lots of progress. So now I'm going to teach you how to play guitar for songs that you want to play and songs that you want to write. So when you're starting, you can either start with a pick or you can just start using your hand. When I started playing ukulele a year before I started learning guitar, I would start just by pulling my thumb down on strings. But that's really up to you. Before you start playing guitar, you're going to want to make sure it's tuned. You can either have one of these clip-on tuners like this, which you turn on and it tells you whether your string is in tune or not. You can have a tuning app, which are available on a lot of phones. My guitar has a built-in tuner. So what you're going to do is you're going to use whatever tuning device you have, and then make sure it's tuned to E, and then as you turn, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, to make sure it's in tune. When you're done tuning E, A, D, G, E, E, it should sound like that, and all together like that. So then next you're going to want to either pick up your pick, or you can start learning just by strumming your finger down. And just get used to the feel of the strings, and just pull down from the string closest to you to the string furthest away from you. Or if you're using your pick, you can hold it however you like, generally between your thumb and your third finger, with just your second finger resting on top is how I do it, but there are a couple of other ways to do it, just as long as you're holding it loosely, not too tight, but also not loose enough that you'll throw it across the room while you're strumming. So just practice strumming your fingers down on the strings. Okay, now that you've done that, you can start learning to play chords. An easy, simple chord is you take these two fingers
and you put them right here for E minor, and it will look like this.
A really common, simple chord is C, and you start with these three fingers, and then you put them down like that. With every new chord you learn, you put your fingers down in the pattern, you play it for a little while, and then you just go straight to another chord, pick any other chord to learn. Just look at your guitar and put them down in the spots where you remember. It helps to memorize your chord charts by each chord you go. So memorize the chord chart for C, and then practice putting all your fingers down for C, and then eventually try to get it fast so that you can put it down immediately.
And let's say you learn the G chord next, which looks like this.
And then try switching between the two. So you're putting your fingers down nice and slow, making sure you get it right, strum. Then you're putting your fingers nice and slow, make sure you get it right, because you don't want to be playing the wrong chords. And then, once you have it all right, you can switch between these two. And then try maybe 4 downstrokes on each and switch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of times when a guitar teacher teaches you to play guitar, they're going to want you to start with scales. But personally, I find that to be not very helpful, because when you're playing songs in a band, or you're writing songs for yourself, or you just want to play a fun pop song that you really like, you're not going to be playing scales. When you want to start learning strumming for real and not just downstrokes, try starting with a simple down, up, down, up. So you go down, up, down, up. Try it again. Down, up, down, up. Maybe try switching the chord. Down, up, 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 down, up. When you're first learning guitar, one of the most important things to learn is how to put your fingers. You don't want to be trying to smush your fingers down like this, because that won't really work out too well for you. This is pretty difficult to get a nice clean sound out of. So you want to to make sure you have your fingernails clipped nice and short. I have mine super short, and that way you can put your fingers down on the fingerboard like this, really curved nice, like a little tunnel, and so that the very, very tips of your fingers, you're eventually going to get calluses here, the very, very tips of these 4 fingers can sit down on the chord like that and not be pressed, smoshed like that, because that doesn't sound good. You want to have them nice and round and put the chord down like that. When you start to learn to play songs, an app that I really like is called Ultimate Guitar. It's also a website. It's called ultimateguitar.com. And there are a couple other websites that will give you chords on top of the lyrics. So it'll say like C, and then the lyrics below, then G, and then it'll tell you the word that you chained it on. So like playing C for this part of the song, and then playing G for this part of the song, or whatever. And then you move on like that. I find that app to be really helpful because then you can learn step by step for the song that you want to play, and not just be learning arbitrary sounds like maybe a scale or just random chords that you're never going to put to use. But if you start learning a really crazy chord that you don't find too often in songs, then it's going to feel like you're not really making any progress. So you want to be learning the chords for the songs that you want to play. Even if you're a songwriter, I find it's really easy to start by learning songs that you like to listen to and that you want to learn to play, because when you start writing your own songs, then you'll get a feel for how chords fit together in different songs and what chords are in the same key, which chords are used together, and how you can make different sounds. So obviously you're going to want to start by playing other people's songs before you write your own, so that you can get a feel of how the instrument works in different songs. A great key to start playing songs in is C major. These are the most common chords ever, and they're used in the key of C major, which is a super common key to write songs in. They're C, they're G, there's A minor, and there's F major. Those chords are really easy to learn, and they fit together so nicely. A lot of songs are written in that key. So what you want to pull out now is your capo. And if you want to learn a song that has a little more difficult chords, especially if you start seeing bar chords in it, try to transpose. So you hit the transposer, you maybe go down 1, down 2. So if you hit -1, then you put your capo on the 1st fret. If you hit -2, you put your capo on the 2nd fret. -3, 3rd fret. So let's say you put your capo on the 3rd fret. If the chords are really difficult, then you can just transpose it down, and you'll oftentimes be playing really easy chords like C, G, A minor, F, maybe even some other easy chords like E minor, D minor is another easy one. There are plenty of easy chords that you can play in almost any song. Every once in a while you'll get a song that has some tricky chords in it, but if you transpose, then it's so much easier to play the song, and so that way you can be learning as much as possible and playing as many songs as possible and not be worrying about how to maneuver your hands in weird positions, because some chords are like, you can play them, but it takes you a minute to get to them, and they're difficult to practice. And when you're just starting out, you really don't want to be working on bar chords and other tricky things. You want to be sticking to the simple basics, the easiest chords, and moving between those chords. And then you can move your capo around, and you can be playing the same chords, but in a different key, and they sound completely different, and you can play a completely different sounding song with the exact same chords that you were playing before. The next thing you want to do is to start playing around with different patterns. You're going to want to try to practice a bunch of different patterns for down strums. Maybe practice just some simple up strums. Get used to how it feels to strum up. And then while you're practicing your down, up, down, up, spice it up. And maybe try down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. That's another really common strumming pattern that works in so many songs. Down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. Experiment with random downs and ups and just play around with how those feel and get used to a bunch of different strumming patterns, and then you can figure out how to use the strumming pattern for the song that you like. There are also a bunch of different tutorials out there that will help you if you're having struggles with downs and ups. You may be able to see on the website that you're using C for this word, G for this word, but you don't know how those strums fit together into becoming a song. Also, another thing that's helpful to learn is chord progressions. Chord progressions are usually very simple in pop songs. Like maybe it's C at 9, E minor, G, B, and you see that and it's consistent throughout the song, but so some songs will use a chord progression for a verse, a different chord progression for a pre-chorus, a different chord progression for a verse, and a completely different chord progression for a bridge. Some songs will be completely consistent throughout, some songs will be consistent throughout, and then something slightly different for a bridge. So you never know, it depends on the song. I recommend, obviously, starting to learn with the simplest song possible. A simple song would involve just 4 straight chords in one pattern consistently, 4 beats for each chord. Maybe just something like this. And it just keeps playing that entire thing throughout the song, never changing. That's the simplest kind of song to learn, just 4 chords throughout. There's some songs that are 5 chords and it'll be 4 beats in the first 3 and then 2 beats in the last 2 chords. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Depends. So try out counting. Try out going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just if that helps you, that's great, and that might actually help you when you start wanting to learn to sing while you're strumming. Another thing you might want to start to learn is tabs, and on a lot of your guitar websites you'll see tabs, and maybe it'll tell you to make, say, an A minor chord, and then to play an E string, your G string, your B string, and just go like maybe it'll tell you patterns, maybe it'll tell you a more complex tab where you're switching between chords, or maybe it's not even chords at all, maybe you're just throwing fingers down. Obviously, I recommend when you start learning tabs to learn the tabs that are chord-based, so it'll tell you to make a C chord and then play this string, that string, that string, that string, and that's a little easier than trying to figure out numbers and stuff. But soon I'll also have a video about how to read tabs. Tabs are a little more difficult than learning chords, but if you feel like you're ready, then tabs are a great spot to learn. Honestly, learning guitar is about learning what you want to play. So if what you want to play is written in tabs, then start learning tabs. Just look at it, listen to the song you want to listen to, and try to see if you can match what it sounds like. Same thing with chords. Listen to your favorite song and then try to play along with it. Even if you have to like go on YouTube and slow down the speed that the song is going, you can put it down to half speed or whatever and just strum along with your favorite song. Let's say you're listening to Shake It Off by Taylor Swift and you're going, I stay up too late, got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. And you don't necessarily have to play at the speed that it's going. You don't have to go like, I stay up too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can slow it down and take it slow and play the songs that you want to play, how you want to play them, and then eventually start nice and slow, and then eventually you can speed up to however fast you want to go. Just play the songs that you want to play and don't worry about learning, okay, first I need to learn the C major chord, next I have to learn the G major chord. Don't worry about learning chords or learning certain styles of playing. Focus on what's simple first, focus on what's easy. Just get used to playing the instrument, and honestly, starting with chords and playing along to really simple 4-chord songs is an amazing way to learn the instrument and just get used to putting your fingers down and playing and get used to your fingers moving on the fretboard. That will make everything you play in the future so much easier. And I'm telling you, you don't need guitar lessons. You can obviously have them if you want to learn and become really good and skilled, especially if you're younger. But if you're older and you just want to learn to play guitar because you want to write songs or because you want to play along with your friends who have a fun band that you want to be a part of, or you just want to play for fun because you've always wanted to learn, I'm telling you, you don't need guitar lessons because it's easy to teach yourself with the internet nowadays. I'm going to have plenty of videos out that will teach you specific things that will help you. These are some of the basics, and I'm telling you, chords are your friend. They're so simple, and they're the main part of any song. If you learn chords and how they fit together in a song, you can probably play anything, especially if you have one of these little guys. If you have a capo, and you can transpose, you can play almost any song with learning just a couple of chords and maybe just a couple of strumming patterns. And then you can play whatever you want, you can feel so free, and you can just enjoy playing music and not be caught up in certain techniques and making sure everything's correct. There are just a few things that I want you to take away from this lesson. One, you can play with a pick or you cannot play with a pick. You can play just as well without a pick. Just play with your, one way that I like to do it, make a pick out of your thumb and your forefinger. Just like that. If that's too hard, just pull your thumb down. You can just go like this with these 4 fingers. Next thing I want you to take away, capos are so helpful because that way you can just learn to play the songs that you want to play and also write songs that sound cool and interesting without having to try to figure out complex chords and difficult patterns. Capos and transposition can help you to play anything you want, and I do mean anything. The third takeaway is always be in tune. Always, always, always be in tune, or else it'll just sound wrong. The next takeaway is just get used to playing the strings. You don't necessarily have to be playing complex things to be getting the skills. This is the most important thing that I want you to learn, honestly, because if you're getting used to how it feels to play the strings and how it feels to put your fingers down on the fretboard, soon enough you'll be able to play anything that you want just by practicing. And then the last thing I want to say is practice every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes.
Basically what I was trying to say is just practice a couple minutes every day, start off really simple, a couple downstrokes, and then gradually get more complex and start playing more difficult things. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye!